Hey everybody, welcome back to Play Casket. These are your co-hosts, Paraka the Goblin and
Ghost, your co-host.
And this week we're going to talk about just 3D platforms and 3D platformers in general. My tongue is tied today. I apologize. Basically, we're just going to talk about some of our thoughts and stuff. Basically, it's self-descriptive. We don't actually have to lay out anything on this, but I'll go ahead and let you go. You don't play as many as I do, and I just go ahead and let you start that off then.
Okay. So, the first ones I played was Apescape, at least. Mm-hmm. The first game I ever played was Apescape. There's also Mario 64.
I'm thinking more 3D platformers, so like Mario 64 and stuff like that, yes.
Okay. Mario 64. I didn't really beat it, though. But I don't know. I like them. They're good. Because I played, what was the newest one?
Odyssey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's done pretty well. It does difficulty to the right level, so it's not too challenging, but it's hard enough that
I like Odyssey because it hits a right mark that in order to progress, you still have to at least give it a little more effort.
Yeah.
Not you don't have to get all the moons because there is some of the things that you have to collect that are just sometimes just frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, you still have to challenge yourself to a certain degree in order to basically progress through the game. But the bosses are pretty basic. The enemies are pretty basic. The world's very basic, but they're more open. They're expansive. They're very, very diverse in different colors, characters, and challenges that you do that actually represent a lot of it. Like the sand area is going to have a lot of quicksand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I like that too.
And then, what else? Crash Bandicoot. That was also one of the ones I started playing. I guess because one of my friends had a PS1, and we were just playing, we were just going ham on it. Because I think I also had a 64, but Kirby was what was on it. Mm-hmm. Or Kirby was the game that we had. And then he brought over his PS1. Yeah, I played Ape Escape on there, and I was just super addicted to it. And then we got Crash Bandicoot. Later on, we got Jak and Daxter. That was really good too. So, but I think they're, platformers, I think they're pretty good. But I think it's just also the flavor of the week. We'll cover that later, I guess, but.
Yeah, no, for me, I love them.
Yeah.
And I love the very particular sets of them and stuff. Obviously, some of my favorites are basically the very go-tos. The Banjo-Kazooie, the Mario 64. One of my favorites is still Mario 64 to this day. Mm-hmm. I actually liked, and I know a lot of others did like Vex. It was a 3D platformer with more of a darker take, but it was trying to be edgy in the time where edgy was cool for mascots.
Yeah.
But that was right before mascots just started dying off. So it was just it wasn't even worth it, you know what I mean? But for the most part, it scratched that right itch that had with Mario. Whereas I liked collectathons in a different way for the same reasons. Like I did like Banjo-Kazooie, and that's still probably one of the better designed as far as levels go in any platformer. Like just in general, where everything feels so dynamic and diverse and different experiences and stuff. I think the only ones that really mixed together was probably Rusty Bucket Bay and Clinker's Cavern. I kept mixing the two together every now and again, but it's just because the themes were very similar.
Yeah.
But for the most part, a lot of stuff. You had the Sahara deserts, you had your mountains, you had your snow worlds, you had your seasonal worlds, you had swamps, you had industry, you had all sorts of stuff, but they had unique things that happened just very similar with Odyssey that, if you go into the desert world, expect a lot of sand-based type of things, like quicksand,
that also reminds me about
stuff like that.
The driving stage. God, I hate those.
Yeah, no, I hate driving stages. In fact, even Yooka-Laylee, that spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, makes fun of the minecart stages all the time. You still have to do them, but they make them. They make us self-aware.
Oh, okay.
And such, right? But yeah, no, that's
well, it's like escort missions too. Jesus Christ!
I don't think there's many escort missions in many 3D platforms. There is a couple, but I haven't like heard much.
Well, I guess just in general, like
yeah, in general. But that's an entirely different topic of just mechanics that piss us off. But yeah, no, those are my favorite franchises. I love this like genre as a whole. I like when they make worlds that feel very cohesive with one another instead of floating islands. Like I don't like that. I don't like floating islands.
The paintings.
The Mario and the painting. Well, it's still it's still cohesive, but the part that gets me now that I've evolved from that. I mean, obviously it was early. It's one of the first 3D platformers out there.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that like when you go to those paintings, several of those are just floating islands.
Yeah.
Like I don't like those.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like nowadays, like if you look at Mario Odyssey or Mario Sunshine or Mario Galaxy, kind of, they're cohesive. You know, like Mario Galaxy, I feel like is probably one of my least favorite ones because everything's just. It's very similar to like 2D Mario's where everything's just a level. And I feel like that's what it is in a 3D space.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I have no problem with it. It's fun, but it's my least favorite of 3D platformers. Like, there's no exploration and go, I guess there is some blue coins I could pick up while I'm looking for this other star. You know?
Yeah.
Like, there's stuff like that. Whereas in Galaxy, it's like the unique course to pick up the blue stars is the blue coins is that particular way.
Oh, okay.
So it's not as exciting. But that's my thoughts. I really enjoyed them. But of course, unlike you, I felt really bummed out that like probably mid to late 2000s they just fell off the earth.
Well, I think it's because shooting games are starting, like shooting games on top of the Guitar Hero stuff was
That's also true,
starting to make. It was starting to creep into the mainstream, I guess. But I think Call of Duty was starting to take over. Same thing with like the massive online PvP stage, I guess.
I think that was a little bit. I think that was much later. I think that was more in like the 2010s and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, they just kind of fell off. I think one of the reasons, and I mentioned it earlier, mascots were just dying. Like when you look at 90s and you're looking in the 2000s and stuff, you're seeing people just trying to make mascots that are just so associated with their names, like Mario with Nintendo. You can't not.
Yeah.
You know, Pokemon Company, Pikachu, Hal, Kirby, and Sony doesn't really have it either. Like I think Sony went more with the tech thing, and that's
which is kind of weird because Microsoft had Master Chief, so it's like just pick up Crash Bandicoot, but I guess they didn't like it.
They didn't like him. They didn't like him at all. Actually, I heard there was things where like I think one of the presidents went down to Naughty Dog and just listed off all the things why he hated Crash. And then they bought Naughty Dog, and I think they sold Crash off to somebody else. I think
Activision?
Universal.
Yeah,
no,
Universal.
It sold Universal, and then Activision eventually bought up Vivendi Universal or something like that, which is the development studio of Universal.
Pain.
So, yep, and that's where they are now. Rest in peace. You will always be a weird microtransaction skin on a gun for Call of Duty 86, Modern Warfare 5, Super Daylight Wars, or some bullcrap like that. But, pardon me, I do think one of the things I just mentioned too, like even though just the death of just mascots, like not even the cool edge mascots, like later in the 3D platformer era, it was everyone had to be more edgier and edgier. We had Gex, we had Vex, we had Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, we had Bubsy early on. I feel like Bubsy was probably actually, now thinking about it more out loud, was probably one of the first edgy characters that went into 3D.
No, okay.
Too bad his game sucked. You know? But I think it was one of those like the Ratitude era that just killed off mascots because eventually they just went the other direction. And Mario was so not personable, that he could just basically transcend every every era.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else is like, these are too this, these guys are too 90s. I mean...
Well, I think it also sticks with the era because 90s attitude was kind of like starting to become a millennial thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the younger generations are like, that's kind of what, my college age brother likes. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So transition into the next generation.
Yeah.
And I guess they just kind of got stuck in that.
Yeah, and the ratitude is just... And then now it's just brand.
Yeah.
Like, I've noticed a lot of it has to be brand, and it has to be tech. Like, when you look at the advertising for the PS2 into the PS3, they changed so dynamically where, like, you wanted to get a PS3 because it just sounds so badass. Why wouldn't you want this fast Lamborghini car of a console? It's so good. And so people would buy that. And by nature, they would want games that benchmark this investment. So they didn't want these characters because not many 3D platformers hit those marks, like ever. I think Ratchet and Clank was probably the only one that was ever really deemed a good one, and that was in the PS5, just recently.
Yeah.
But look how many years between that and the PS2 did anybody say anything like that?
Yeah.
You know?
Which is kind of funny too because now that I think about it, during the PS3 era and the Xbox 360 era, now that we got bigger screens, they took away split screen. What the hell?
Yeah. What the hell? Like, no, you go online now, you get to have the whole screen. I'm like, you can still do split screen on some of these things. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not opposed to some games offering a split screen couch co-op or couch, competition game.
Yeah.
I really don't. There's actually a game out there that's called Screen Cheat.
Yeah.
That you can't see.
Peek?
No, Screen Cheat. So you have to look at the other poses because you can't be seen from another person. Like, everyone is invisible to one another. So you have to actually look at somebody else's screen to find out where they're at and try to shoot in the blank areas and see if they're there and basically fight one another from that.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's kind of fun. And it's a split screen, but I don't see that many very often. Like, I see a lot of, like, collectively everyone could play on one solid unified screen and stuff. Overcooked, Bacon Switch, Very Valet, like a lot of these popular games like that, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. The split screen kind of like died very similarly around that same time. But that was also around the time that online was becoming more and more ideal for people to play.
Well, it was also the era of shooters. I swear.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Call of Duty's making it
about midway through the PS3.
Yeah, and then everybody, the Halo killer. Everybody wanted to.
Everybody wanted a Halo killer. Everybody wanted a World of Warcraft killer in the same, almost in the same time frame. To be honest, like, they even made Metroid as the Halo killer, but then they made Halo the Metroid killer, which neither one of them actually even played the same at all. It's space first person. They might as well be the same game. No. One of them sucks, and the other one's Halo.
Get out of here.
But I do feel like that's a major problem, and I think one of the other problems that helped kill it is that everybody who wanted to do something just wanted to do exactly the same thing everybody else did, and just retread what made Mario and Banjo-Kazooie great.
Well, I think it's also just a new genre, like a new flavor of the week. Mostly like how we have trends in movies. I think just becomes another genre again. So I think the era for platformers have kind of gone away, and I don't know. I guess shooting games are kind of in right now.
Shooting games are still in, and because then people can pretend they are part of the game.
Well, I guess microtransactions are a thing right now.
Yeah. Well, that and MOBAs. I am hearing a lot of Battle Royale still holding strong. It's just that certain games don't generate enough engaging content for people to get into it.
Yeah. Well, it's going to get oversaturated because
it always does. Yeah. Everybody wants to be a success, so they try to do the thing everybody wants to play.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense. Like, when you look at the old era of the platformer, you had games like Flip's Twisted World, you had games like Billy Hatcher, rest in peace, Tasmanian Tiger, Blink's the Time Sweeper. I could rattle off so many. Sly Cooper. They all wanted to be in the same vein somehow to capture that same magic.
Yeah.
Look at first-person shooters. The moment first-person shooters came up, they even made a third-person shooter based off of what was it, Plants vs Zombies?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, duh. Like then they started making character-based shooters like Overwatch, Valorant, and what was the other one? I just forgot it off the top of my head.
Apex?
Paladins.
Paladins. Okay.
But that's the thing, they were trying to make characters feel more, unique to one another now and stuff instead of just guns.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's slowly slipping away. It's not going away the same way. But I do feel like that's what helped kill it off. But I still have some good news after that. But
I think indies are gonna save them.
yes, that is exactly what I was gonna say. And I do think, and I think that's I think indies are gonna save a lot of old time genres out there. Because if it wasn't Metroid and if it wasn't Castlevania, nobody else was making that type of adventure game, which we'll probably talk about in another thing about that type of genre in general.
2D side scrollers or 2D?
I'll say more of like the adventure game, because it's one of those things where you have to retread a lot of spaces and places like that to solve new areas because you have new abilities.
Okay.
So stuff like Zelda, stuff like Metroid, Castlevania, Hollow Knight, stuff like that. I feel like we should. That's definitely enough to talk about in its own episode.
Okay.
But I do think indies are going to be saving a lot of these like classic styled gameplay.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's because a lot of people our age want to play a lot of those classics.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so
it's offline. Give me more. Right?
yeah, I want more offline games, like games that I could play on my own time. Like if I wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and that is like the lowest point for a game's popularity, I'm not going to sit in a queue for like 20 minutes for one game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to do it.
And then you have to play to everybody's expectation as well. Yeah.
Yeah, like I just like I'm at 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm not going to play it to my own expectation.
Yeah.
I'm going to suck.
Yeah.
But I'd rather just suck by myself so nobody else sees it. Let me.
That's also why battle royales are doing really well, because you're just playing at your own pace, and then once you die, you're just like, okay, back in the queue.
No, I think there's a lot of competitive, predatory gameplay mechanics in it.
No, okay.
I don't have to play as good as everybody else is good at first-person shooters. I just have to kill the one person that's left from that fight.
No, okay.
So there's a lot of people that always do that. Like even in Brawl Stars. Brawl Stars is just a 10 battle royale one that you can just chill out in a bush wait until like it's like the last 4 or whatever. Come out, start doing as much damage as you can, and each one will try to kill each other because they're more powered. So you're weak, seeing if they could do that, and then they have enough damage on them that you might be able to pluck them off.
No, okay.
Like it's that way. So it's very, very similar to that, right?
But I think indies will help breathe life into platformers because they have the budget to pull it off.
Well, they don't have a budget to make it a benchmark. Like it's not an expectation of them. Like I feel like that's more of what I think of it.
Which is crazy too, because when you go into AAA, they're like, your minimum budget has to be $20 million or something.
Yeah, and it has to reach the broadest market imaginable. So that's why Crash doesn't come out.
Yeah.
Crash 4 sold amazingly, but it didn't sell no Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So Activision was like, I'm shutting this down. We're just doing more Call of Duty. And literally moved that developer to Call of Duty assets.
Yeah.
So, like, rest in peace, Crash 5, because that's never going to happen in this context right now. And the same thing with the Guitar Heroes and stuff like that. It sold until it no longer sold as well, and they immediately closed everything.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Same thing with the Skylanders. Oh, what? It's now selling 3 million underneath the last time? That's impossible. Kill them all off. I'm not doing this twice.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's part of the major problem with AAA developers is like they have the investors who go, I want the best thing that always sells, best ever, best ball, best.
Yeah.
If it doesn't sell if it doesn't sell beyond best, then I don't want it because best is always best for best. So that's how I feel.
Yeah. Oh,
and I feel like indies don't have that budget, so they don't have that overhead. They don't have those investors. They don't. They're like, we're gonna make one that's based off of a frog, and it really plays like Spyro, and the frog is pink with some weird leg wings.
Until it does really well, and then a AAA comes by and
tries to buy them up. We're making fun of you, Zoink Games. So
sorry, I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse.
No, well, even then you will have companies like Yacht Club that became widely popular on just one game.
Yeah, true.
Granted, Shovel Knight's all over the place now, but they're also publishing other indies and stuff. I mean, they might be the next major third-party publishers that we used to have back in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Where everybody was still kind of experimenting and stuff. Yacht Club might be that way. Way Forward is looking to go that direction as well.
Or you just sell out to Epic.
Don't sell out to Epic.
Yeah, don't. Please.
Just don't. Don't. That was a joke. It's not. We are not very good investors.
Like I said, they purposely do it. They do it on purpose. Youngya did a video on it. They wait for it to almost come out, and then they snipe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to drive. Publicity.
Don't buy into it, guys. I know we're a small little podcast company, but don't do it. So many people are on the same boat. Just don't buy into this whole snipey nonsense. Get yourself out there as much as you can. Talk about how good your stuff is and succeed. That's all. That's it. Make damn good games. I will talk about your games up and down if they're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think, and they're also indies are also inspired by nostalgia. Like they want to make 3D platformers because 3D platformers was something they used to grow up on.
Well, how do you get the next generation to be interested in it then? If it's like, if somebody makes it just to get nostalgia for our generation, how do we get the younger generations to be interested in it?
They're new. Think about it. Like, Clive and Wrench, for one, is like obviously a knockoff on Banjo-Kazooie, right? But it's new. It's current. It's there. If it becomes popular, some more kids are going to buy into it and go, oh, wow, this was good. But the thing is, it's really hard for indies to do that unless somebody like adults are playing it too.
Oh, okay.
Because when adults are playing it, more kids are likely going to want to play it as well.
Okay.
Otherwise, they want to play what their cool friends play, and it just sticks them to Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But if they got more people playing more nostalgic games with their kids and stuff like that, they're going to want to play more of these platformers or more of these adventure games or more of these like puzzle RPGs or something to that point. I do think that.
Okay.
And I would say this about wraps it up. But I think we could probably squeeze in another question here. What do you think, like, as far as a genre, like another franchise, I mean, that would benefit from the 3D platforming genre? Like, a game out there that exists that do a good with platforming?
Fall Guys? What do you mean?
I mean, I guess.
Like a Fall Guys
platforming
adventure world?
No, like, if somebody made a franchise that wasn't necessarily a 3D platformer into a 3D platformer, like a spin-off of a kind, what do you think of what franchise do you think would benefit from that?
I don't know. I guess the first thing that always comes to mind is Fortnite. I mean, if they want to make Fortnite into like a Mario-esque,
that'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious because a lot of well, like, to be honest, I could see that Epic with Fortnite, you only using Fortnite, making a genuine effort to a platforming game.
Yeah.
Would probably be the only thing that would single-handedly make the most youth ever adapt that genre ever.
Yeah. And you can build stuff and
build platforms and stuff like that, and just try to solve the puzzles with platforming. I could see that.
Yeah.
I would probably say, and I've mentioned this company a couple of times, is Brawl Stars.
Okay.
I'm not trying to say they're amazing, but I am saying that the game really lends itself to multiple themes, like even maps in the game and stuff. If you're familiar, they are very unique to different artistic themes in a theme park.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a Velocirapids, which is a water park dinosaur theme.
Yeah.
Then you have entertainment from Mexico, so you have a Mexican entertainment theme. You have a graveyard theme. You have a Wild West theme. You have a pirate ship robot theme. You have various themes out there that you can actually expand on.
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of people would probably be down with. And there's also like a lot of like weirdly hidden lore that a lot of these major channels for that series kind of breaks down quite a bit.
Yeah, okay. That would be pretty cool.
And there's also a character in the game called Colette that collects things of all the other brawlers. How does that not say it could translate? I'm like, there's already a character that would be down for that. So that's what I would say.
Splatoon maybe, but Splatoon already has their own.
Yeah, it kind of has a pseudo one, but I don't know. Like it might work, but you know, would it work in a way that Splatoon fans would feel more Splatoon with? You know what I mean? Like at least Fortnite, at least with like Fortnite, as you said, it makes sense. Like you can see that happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not sure, but I think that would be cool. But I would say now it wraps it up.
Okay.
I felt like that would be an interesting little fun bonus track at the end there for anybody who wants to listen that far. But yeah, that about wraps it up. I would thank you guys all for listening. If you like our content, feel free to
remind us, thumbs up.
share our stuff, thumbs up if you like our content, and maybe even make sure you guys are subscribed. And we will see you on the other side. Hey everyone, this is Paraka.
And Ghost.
I would like to say thank you for listening to our podcast.
If you like our content, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe and share our video with your friends.
You can also follow and support us on other social media such as Minds and Rumble. Links in the description below.